Hello and welcome to What's Brewing in Education. I am Superintendent Scott Kuykendall, and I'm excited to share about a student event that happens each February in Stanislaus County. It happens here, and it also happens in all of our counties up and down the state. The Academic Decathlon student event consists of 10 areas that test a student's knowledge, interview, and speech skills. At the end of the podcast, you should have a better understanding of the Academic Decathlon student event, what it takes to be on a high school team, and what students gain from participating. Joining me today are a few of the Oakdale High School students who helped lead their team win the county's Academic Decathlon. So welcome Carter Franca, Johanna Fabian, and Blue Anchetta. So thank you all for being a part of this today. This is fantastic. And I think that I mentioned this before we started. This is the first time that we've actually had students on the podcast. So we thought that would be a lot of fun. So hopefully you do too. Let me just start with the first question, and kind of each of you can answer this. And Carter, I'll start with you first. What drew you to want to be a part of the Academic Decathlon team at Oakdale High?
So in 8th grade, my English teacher was Miss Hawksworth, who is our coach. Okay. And she said, hey, you should do this thing. It's really cool, and it'll help you look good for college, and you'll get to be part of a team. And I had also been part of the Academic Pentathlon, which is the junior high version of it. But we hadn't been able to compete because of COVID. So it was sort of getting back into that when I entered high school.
Okay. Johanna?
When I was in 8th grade, a bunch of decathlon members came to my science class, and they told us all about how it would look good on scholarships or resumes. And so I decided to do it. And also I like winning medals, so.
You're right. And you?
My story is a little different. I wasn't really planning on doing it, but I had a friend who just kind of joined and was like, hey, I don't know anyone here. Could you join it? And I was originally saying no, but then she said, if you join, you're going to get candy for answering questions correctly. So immediately I was sold.
Right.
And I joined, and it was actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be, because, at the first look of it, 10 tests on a bunch of subjects doesn't seem like the most fun thing. But meeting all the new people, getting to make friends with them, and kind of getting the thrill of the competition, that definitely kept me there, even though my friend eventually ended up leaving the class. It's the competition and stuff was enough for me to think, I'm gonna keep doing this.
Okay. So Oakdale's been hugely successful at the Academic Decathlon, right? As a whole. And actually I was looking at, so this is the actual program for this year's event. It's all about the American Revolution. That was the theme, right? The theme changes every single year. So this year was the American Revolution. But looking in the program, I go back to 2001, okay? Just for instance, Carter, when were you born?
I was born in 2006.
Okay, so you're born in 2006. So since 2001, just a little history lesson for you all, Oakdale has won this competition every single year except for 3 years. So you're kind of dominating the county, at least in this particular competition. What did you guys think of the theme of the American Revolution?
It's strange doing something so specific, because last year the theme was water, which is a lot more broad than this specific area of history. But I like history, so it was fun to take a look at this engaging part of American history.
Johanna, what did you think?
Usually we have our topics be an entire country, like India, China, or an entire subject like water or medicine. So having it be such a small event like the US Revolution was really weird, because it's such a short period that you're how much knowledge can we get out of this? But I feel like it was an interesting subject. It's not my favorite out of the 4 that I've done, but I think it was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I haven't been doing this for very long. Last year was my first year starting, so I only really got to know about like the whole water and how broad that was. But it definitely was interesting. Like I wasn't expecting such like what you'd expect to be like a minute part of history. I wasn't expecting it to be kind of like so diverse and like getting to learn about the very specific things like music. I wasn't expecting there to be like a lot of interesting things, but it really went back like into the history, and it was a lot more interesting than I expected it to be.
Okay, so Oakdale High School, your Academic Decathlon team is actually part of a class. So this is like one period, right? Out of your typical high school day. How many periods do you have at Oakdale?
6.
6? Okay, so this is one of 6. So you guys are meeting on a regular basis every day, pretty much doing this. So what would a typical day in your class look like? Like, how is the class organized?
So it's 7th period after the normal 6 that everybody has.
Okay.
And
So is this like an additional class?
Yes.
Okay,
Kind
so
of.
it's based. Okay.
Because I do a 2 through 7 day, so instead of having that first period class, I can just take one at the end.
Okay.
And I'm in jazz band, so I'm doing 0 through 7, which is 6:40 to 3 o'clock.
Okay.
It's a pretty long day.
All right.
And so when we get to class, at least in the beginning of the year, when we're still working through the subjects and getting to know them, we, the students, make slideshows based on the content in each section, and we teach it to the other students, which is a good way of getting to learn it, because if you're teaching something, then you have to know it well.
Mm-hmm.
So the subjects that I taught, I would have a deeper understanding of, which would really help later on the test. And I'm also presenting it to the other students.
I think it's part of Oakdale's success, the way that we teach things, like it's a student-led teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've done it ever since my freshman year. It's been going on since before I got there too. But yeah, like what Carter said, the more that you take that information apart and put it on a slideshow to teach the other kids, you're like, okay, this is what's important about the subject. This is what I need to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it also kind of is a very like easy, accessible source of review, because like first of all, you're learning it because they present it to you, but then like right after that, like maybe after we've gone through all the subjects, we can just go back and like open up the slides and look through all of it again. And since it's already been like summarized for us, we don't have to like worry about being kind of like overloaded with all of the information. So it's a really nice like condensed way to study.
Right. So the competition takes place in February. Obviously, you start the class in August or when you go back to school. How does the class change as you're getting closer to the competition? Or does the amount of homework or review increase as you're getting closer? Like, tell me kind of how does that go?
So we go through the subjects one by one. We start with art, right?
Yeah.
And whenever we finish discussing the content of a unit, we'll take a test. And Ms. Oxworth posts the top 10 scores on the wall. And then once we've gone through all the subjects, she tells us who is going to be on the competing team.
And there's different levels too as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, Johanna, you want to talk a little bit about that?
There's 3 levels, and it's based off your GPA. There's varsity, scholastic, and then honors.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on all 3 levels.
What were you on this year?
Varsity. I was in honors, then scholastic, then varsity, then varsity.
Okay.
But so at the beginning of the year, we already know like what division we're gonna be in, and she keeps that in mind later for the when we are getting ready to go to competition, because Oakdale always has a full team,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that's kind of rare, because like when you go to competitions, you see that a lot of people are missing during the varsity part of the super quiz, because there's more people in Academic that have higher GPAs and would be like in scholastic and honors and varsity.
Tell me a little bit. So now let's go to the day of the competition itself. What is that experience like?
So we got there very early in the morning. Like, when did we leave? Do you remember? Like 5? Was it 5 or 6?
It wasn't 5.
5.
Probably about 6.
6, yeah. And we get there. It's like, it wasn't an incredibly long drive, but we get there cold, and we were just kind of like all nervous, I think, or at least I was nervous. Maybe it was just me. But when we kind of like got there and got to the actual like room, it's like this huge gym and a bunch of tables lined up. Everyone has like Chromebooks. At least this year, we all had Chromebooks, and we all just kind of took tests next to other students because they don't want like cheating between like schools or like between the same school. So we all sat by other like different students, and it was kind of interesting to get to meet other people who like really you're competing with. But when you're kind of like just sitting next to them, you know, it's nice to just kind of be able to talk to them, maybe like find a mutual interest, even though you're trying to beat them. But yeah, the whole competition was a pretty incredible experience.
Super quiz is afterwards. After you take all the tests and you take your lunch break, then you go to super quiz, and that's where the pressure's really on because that's when the families start showing up. So
You've got everybody watching.
yeah, you get some of that relief that the 10 tests are over, but then you have to get ready for super quiz. Well, alternates don't have to worry about that, so the pressure's mostly on the 9 of us. But you start like scoping out the competition, like seeing which team has full teams and who's missing. And so before super quiz, you're like with your teams, you're making sure you got your calculators and everything. And then you go up there, you get your division done, and then you sit down, and then it's more nervous time because then you got to wait for awards.
So let's talk about super quiz a little bit though, just so that everybody understands what that is. So you're in a big gymnasium, right? You've got friends and family who are sitting in the bleachers kind of watching the whole thing. The same question is asked to all of the teams, and then those teams that answer correctly, right? Do they raise a flag, or
It depends on how many people get it correct.
Yeah, it's
Because
like a 1, 2, or 3.
you can split your answers between your 3 division members. And so you could be like, I'm not sure if it's A or C, so you pick A and we'll pick C. Because then no matter what it is, you'll still get points.
So there's a whole strategy behind that too.
They didn't do that at state though. At state, everybody had to agree on one answer.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the difference, I suppose, like from our local county competition to state.
The first day, at least for us, because we got there like, I don't know if it's called a day early, but
No, because they had to be there for the coaches.
then yeah, we had to like sign in. So like we got a free day without having to really worry about it because before then we had already done the like objective tests. So all that was left was speech and interview, and that would happen on the following day after we like arrived. So the first day we get there is really just kind of like a free day, and all of the boys kind of spend it exploring the whole hotel. And it was just kind of really fun to kind of get like a break and kind of take in like all that our hard work has really led us to.
So tell me about the super quiz experience at the state level.
So first they had some like Sons of the American Revolution show up in full colonial garb.
Okay.
Had a musket.
they had a musket, and they gave us a speech about like our heritage and how it's coming up on the, what is it, 250?
Yeah, 250.
250th anniversary of the revolution, and like all the events that are going to be leading up to that. And then after that, they pulled up their slideshow presentation on these 2 big screens, and we send up our varsity division. They're at a table with a Scantron.
One Scantron, one
and
pencil.
a zebra pencil, which is like a fancy one used for bubbling in. I didn't much like it.
Yeah, but so the difference between this super quiz and county super quiz is county super quiz, top 2 scores are counted. And this one, we all had to decide on one answer, and one Scantron was going to be used. And also, the setup was not very nice, and I had to stand on a chair to see the questions. I almost fell.
There were like 500 students in that room.
Okay.
And if you're sending up 3 at a time, then you're still putting up like 150 students in this small area they're all cramped together and there are proctors standing around as well. So it's just a very tight space, not very comfortable.
So overall, like, tell us about like your team, and is it cohesive? Do you guys get along? Like, tell me a little bit about, Oakdale High School and your Academic Decathlon team.
I think for the most part, we all get along pretty well. For the most part.
No
Like
trash talking.
State, no, of course not. State was a really fun experience because we all kind of get to hang out like together, like kind of, I don't know if family is the right word, but it's it's kind of like cool to just be able to hang out with all of your friends in like a hotel, just kind of get a chill with them. And definitely a very fun team bonding experience.
Like, not only are we working together to like win the competition, of course, but we're also just hanging out with each other and being friends, which is like the social aspect of Academic Decathlon is a big part of the experience. You mentioned candy earlier. Like, you would people would throw candy at you if you got questions right during the class.
Right.
I have been on the team for 4 years, and I felt the last 2 years I had like no connection with the team whatsoever because it was all online. I didn't see anyone. But I remember my freshman year, we were like this close. We would go to people's houses and hang out, and it was really fun. And I really enjoyed like being able to work with a team because I've always been like I have to win kind of person. But it really shows you how to work with a team, and you want to work with this team and you want to succeed together because we're all friends and we all want to support each other and we have similar interests.
Right. And Johanna, you mentioned that, you're kind of competitive, and I definitely saw that at the awards ceremony because, when I was there announcing winners, definitely saw that side of you a little bit, when you would go up and, collect your numerous medals that you got that day. That was fun. What would you say for students, or what would you tell students who are considering Academic Decathlon? Like, why would this be something that they would want to do?
I would say, most importantly, your grades don't matter. Like I said, I've been in all 3 divisions. I've seen my grades tank, and still, I got 9 medals this year, 10 medals last year. And I think that as students, sometimes we put too much importance in our grades, and we see that as a reflection of ourselves. And people think, oh, my grades are too bad, I can't do Academic Decathlon. But we need people with lower GPAs if they're willing to learn. That's the willingness to come and compete and give up your after school, your weekends. Like, that's just what you need. And Academic Decathlon, it looks good on scholarships too, but it's honestly just like a learning experience. You work as a team, you learn how to give interviews, you learn how to give speeches. And there's so many like social skills and life skills that you learn from being in this program that it's not just about like potential money or looking good in the future. It's also about what you can take from the program.
Yeah, like it was definitely a really big learning experience for me. Like freshman year and 8th grade, like I like hated talking like in public. I absolutely despised it. I know in 7th grade, I had to give a project for history class. I cried, and I think I got a C or D out of pity because I could not present. But now I'm on a podcast.
Yeah.
I got a medal and interview. So, it's kind of like taught me to like push myself out of my boundaries, learn how to be able to talk in front of people. And that's just like, public speaking. There's so much more that you could be learning in academic.
Okay. But I do like that aspect of it, that it's not just memorizing facts, right, and regurgitating those things. I mean, there's a lot of other things that could definitely help you as, as a young person, once you're graduating, once you're going on and pursuing whatever, a career, college, whatever that looks like, that there are these skills, these things, these tangible things that you're taking with you that are really beneficial.
Yeah, I remember freshman year, I had a teacher named Mrs. Olson, and she always remembered me as like this timid, quiet girl that would like hide behind her hair, wouldn't talk to anyone. And when I gave her a practice interview one time this year to practice before state, she was like, I can see how much you've changed because of this program and how you've been able to grow as a person and really become confident and just be the person that you are because of this program. And now I can look my superintendent in the eyes and wait for him to give me my award.
And you did that several times. I think that you guys did a fantastic job of kind of describing what the program is. I think you did a great job of representing Oakdale High School. Do all of you, well, not all of you, because one of you is a senior, but for Carter and Blue, are you guys going to do this next year?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
You think so?
You are blue.
I don't have a choice, it looks like.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being a part of this. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We very much liked and enjoyed hearing you kind of talk about the program and how it's beneficial. So please give your best to your coach. Hopefully, I'm sure she will keep up the good work with Oakdale High and much success in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.